PAS has told the Prime Minister to respond to claims in Bloomberg's latest report. Meanwhile, Wang Chen has called on the government to clarify if it paid toll fees for Malaysian ships to cross the Strait of Hormuz. This and more on KiniNews. PAS has challenged Prime Minister Anwar Ibrahim to respond or take legal action against Bloomberg after it published yet another report with claims against his leadership.
PAS has called on the government to respond to a Bloomberg article citing unnamed sources, which claimed that Prime Minister Anwar Ibrahim had instructed key individuals involved in a probe into MACC chief Azam Baki's shareholdings to delay making their findings public. In a Facebook post, PAS Information Chief Fadhli Shaari questioned whether the government and the Prime Minister were not embarrassed by what he described as repeat revelations by Bloomberg. He said the government must respond, and if the claims are untrue, it should take action, including suing Bloomberg. Fadhli also questioned what the government had to fear, adding that if the investigation report is ready, there should be no reason to delay its public release. In an exclusive report published this morning, Bloomberg claimed the Prime Minister wanted those involved in the investigation into Azam's shareholdings to hold off from making their findings public. The delay was reportedly intended to give law enforcement agencies time to finish separate investigations into the alleged corporate mafia allegations before the matter is discussed in cabinet. Bloomberg also reported that Anwar was planning to let Azam step aside after his contract ends in May, and that the anti-graft chief had allegedly lobbied for a senatorship following his retirement from the civil service. Malaysia Kini has reached out to the Prime Minister's office and MACC for comments. The government had previously set up a special committee led by Attorney General Dusuki Mokhtar to review the compliance and regularity of shares purchased by Azam. It also directed the Police, Inland Revenue Board, MACC and Securities Commission, among others, to investigate the corporate mafia allegations. MACC has denied the claims, calling them baseless and part of a smear campaign to undermine the agency's reputation.
The drunk driver who caused the death of a motorcyclist has been remanded for 4 days.
A man has been remanded for 4 days from today for allegedly driving under the influence of alcohol and drugs and causing the death of a motorcyclist on Jalan Raya Barat in Klang yesterday. According to Bernama Magistrate Siti Zubaida Mahat issued the order to remand the man, who is in his 20s. Klang Selatan Police Chief ACP Lim Jit Hui said the incident occurred around 11:40 a.m., causing the victim, a man in his 30s, to be thrown onto the roof of another car. Initially, investigations found that the Honda City driven by the suspect heading towards Klang Town was being dangerously driven at high speed. Lim said the driver reportedly overtook several vehicles before entering the opposite lane and colliding with the victim's motorcycle. The impact caused the motorcyclist to be flung onto a Perodua Myvi, resulting in his death at the scene. Lim added that the suspect tested positive for both alcohol and drugs. From now on, you can also listen to KiniNews on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Scan the QR code on the screen to follow us.
Rafi stressed that the controversy around NextG is more than just a corporate drama and business dispute. This was what he said about the matter.
Rafi Ramli has stated that the controversies engulfing NextG Berhad are more than just a business dispute or money-driven corporate drama. In a post on social media, he said that the reality is the issue is far bigger than that. Rafi pointed out that NextG is related to matters that are highly strategic to the country: MACC, passports, and migrant worker documents. He added that this included all forms of official identification ultimately used in banking, government affairs, and even voting. Elaborating, he said that when a company sits at the center of a nation's identity system, controlling it is no longer just about owning a corporate entity. It means holding something far more significant. He noted that this is why the issue cannot be read as just a story about shares. Rafi said what is more disconcerting is when strategic assets like this become the subject of competition among vested interest groups. He added that this is a sign that the problem is not about one or two individuals. He stressed that the real problem lies in a system that allows such a situation to happen. NextG is a company that holds 2.4 billion ringgit in government contracts to supply national identification cards and passports, with Heytech Padu Berhad undertaking similar work, such as the development and deployment of the National Integrated Immigration System. The two companies have been linked to the corporate mafia scandal first reported by Bloomberg.
Is Putrajaya paying toll fees to cross the Strait of Hormuz? This was the question raised by an MP following reports that other countries are being charged for passage.
Subang MP Wang Chen has called on the government to clarify whether Malaysia is required, like other countries, to pay for its vessels to pass through Iran's blockade of the Strait of Hormuz. He said this in response to multiple international media reports over the past week, claiming that Iran's military has set up a toll system in the strait, with some vessels allegedly being charged up to $2 million for safe passage. According to Bloomberg, the payments are ad hoc, while the method and currency used remain unclear. Commenting on the report, Wang said that if the government is required to pay such fees, it must disclose this publicly as taxpayers' money will be involved. He added that, in his view, paying for passage is preferable to having Malaysian vessels and crews stranded. However, he stressed that the government must remain transparent and accountable. Wang added that another issue is that they are not sure who the ship owners are and whether they will be contributing too. Last Thursday, Prime Minister Anwar Ibrahim revealed in a special address that Iran had agreed to allow Malaysian vessels through its blockade after discussions with the Republic's President Masoud Pezeshkian. Iran's embassy in Malaysia responded with a social media post, implying that this was in gratitude for Malaysia's support for the country during troubled times. Yesterday, Foreign Minister Muhammad Hassan had said that there are 7 vessels owned by Malaysian companies waiting for their turn to cross the Strait of Hormuz. Malaysia Kini has contacted Wisma Putra for comments regarding the toll fees. If you like the stories we produce, consider supporting us by subscribing to Malaysia Kini. Click the link in the description below or scan the QR code on your screen to subscribe.
Petronas has denied involvement in Philippines' plan to buy oil from Malaysia. Here's more on that.
Petroleum National Berhad, Petronas, has denied any involvement in a proposed fuel supply to the Philippines. This came following reports of a regional government's plan in that country to obtain supplies from Malaysia. In a statement yesterday, it clarified that it is not aware of, nor involved in, any such arrangement and has not entered into any related agreement or commitment. It stressed that its focus is on ensuring a stable and continuous fuel supply for Malaysia. Petronas added that this remains its utmost priority, supported by established supply networks and close coordination with the government. On March 25th, the provincial government of Davao del Norte in Mindanao was reported as intending to purchase up to 44 million liters of crude oil and petrol from Malaysia to address rising fuel prices following the conflict in West Asia. The Philippine news agency quoted the province's governor, Edwin Jubahib, as saying that he had connected with the Johor district in Negeri Sembilan, Malaysia, and shared their problem. He said that since they have a huge reserve of crude oil and gasoline, they responded positively and said we can buy some of it. Juhabib added that while the purchase cost has not been finalized, he was confident the Malaysian government will provide the supply. He reportedly said the supply will be obtained from Malaysia's National Petroleum Company.
Blogger Wan Azri Wanderis was fined 4,000 ringgit by the Sessions Court in Kuala Lumpur today for sedition.
Blogger Wan Azri Wanderis, better known as Papagomo, was fined 4,000 ringgit by the Sessions Court in Kuala Lumpur today. This was for making seditious statements against Yang di-Pertuan Agong Sultan Ibrahim Sultan Iskandar. The court reportedly ordered Azri to serve 4 months in jail if he fails to pay the fine. According to Bernama, Judge Norma Ismail handed down the sentence after ruling that the defense had failed to raise a reasonable doubt at the end of its case. On May 2, 2024, he had claimed trial for publishing seditious material on his Twitter account in relation to an issue involving the owner of KK Supermart and Superstore meeting Sultan Ibrahim. He was accused of committing the offense at a condominium in Bukit Bintang at noon on April 29, 2024 under Section 4(1)(c) of the Sedition Act 1948, which carries a maximum fine of 5,000 ringgit, jail term of up to 3 years or both upon conviction. His lawyer Muhammad Rafi Rashid Ali told reporters that the defense would file an appeal against the decision soon.
And that is all from me today. For more stories, you can go to KiniTv.com. You can also follow us on Instagram, X, YouTube, and Facebook for the latest news updates. I'm John. Thanks for watching.